Thanks, Danny. I'm a beginning farmer, and I'll admit up front that my age is not really doing a whole lot to help lower the average age of the American farmer. But I'm making up for that as a beginning farmer by not knowing what I'm doing. So as I get into this with Danny and Virginia Forage and Grasslands Council, I'm pretty excited about what I'm going to gain out of it. A little background on myself. I grew up in Grassland County, spent about 30 years in the Army, running around the world doing different things, and have moved back to the farm about a year and a half ago and has taken over the running of the operation. When I was transitioning out of the Army, folks asked me, well, why do you want to go into farming? And it made me think about that question, because a lot of my peers transitioned into being defense contractors and things like that. But when I really thought about the question, I realized that there are a lot of similarities between farming and soldiering. One of them is soldiering and farming are both outdoor sports. And so that appealed to me. The other one was we understood mission. Farmers understand that, you know, the clock is the clock and it doesn't end at 5 o'clock. The day, you got to do what's got to get done that day. Soldiers are very similar in that regard as well. So when I came back and I did an assessment of the farm, one of the first things I did is got accountability of the herd. So I had a formation, called all the cows together, identified the lead cow, said, hey, you're my platoon sergeant. All right, I'm going to try to give you direction. That worked okay. Had some issues. But through my accountability, I realized the quality of my herd and some of the things I wanted to do. I have about 122 cow-calf pair, running about 800 acres of pasture that I'm managing. You can quickly do the math and realize that my stocking rate is probably a little bit lower than what it could be, but again, as an inexperienced beginning farmer of an advanced age, one way to mitigate risk is to take it a little bit slower. So growing my herd is something I want to do, but I'll do it in time and not, especially with the prices of cattle right now, it's hard for me to increase that, so I'm going to try to do it internally. Because right now I have a closed herd. It was that when I inherited it, and I'm going to try to maintain that for some reasons in addition to risk mitigation. I do spring and fall calving, not because that's something I created. That's kind of how it was when I took over. The challenges with that, though, when I took over in October of 13, we started calving on middle of October, and we stopped calving sometime mid-April. We started calving again in June and finished in December. And so, although we say we were spring and fall calving, the calendar didn't really match. And so one of the things I've tried to do is shift the herd to actually calving, spring calving in the spring and fall calving in the fall. This year I ended calving on the 19th of December, so I get a go there. But my spring or my fall calvers next summer will probably start a little bit earlier than I prefer. So I've still got some balancing in my books and some indiscipline in the herd that I've got to work on. Some operational changes that I've put into place since I've been there. It's one, I retained control of about 28 of my yearlings, and I'm going to grass finish those and try to direct market them, either through Grace Natural Farms or through direct to consumer. We'll see how that goes. And Danny's helping me on trying to figure out how that works. But right now I've got them on a section of the farm that I'm rotating them through pastures and haven't fed them any hay yet. Can't say that for the rest of the herd, but I am using those rotational processes and methodologies to try to reduce the amount of hay and when I start to feed the hay. So last year I started feeding hay on or about the 1st of December, and I was feeding 5 bales a day. This year I started about the same time, and I'm still only averaging about 3 bales a day, but my herd is actually a little bit bigger than it was last year. So in my mind, I'm making progress. It may not be great, but in my mind, I'm doing things a little bit better. I've also implemented a soil sampling process. We hadn't done that in a while on the farm. I've got the farm on a 3-year cycle. I've got 2/3 of the farm done. This next year will also include organic matter, which fits into the program that Danny and Virginia Forage and Grasslands Council was talking about doing. And then also improve my pasture rotation. With NRCS, we've begun programs to build paddocks on the farm and instill water systems. Because again, what I've realized the similarities between soldiering and farming is if you give a soldier or a cow good food and clean water, they'll generally do what you want them to do. The difference, though, is if you get some indiscipline in the herd, you can at least eat that cow. Okay, it doesn't really work so well with the soldiers. They don't like that so much. But the pasture rotation is going to give me some ability to better manage my land, but also extend my grazing season and mitigate one of my big costs, which is hay production. Some operational improvements over last year. I already mentioned about reducing the amount of hay that I fed on a daily basis up to this point. The other one was that my hay quality last year when I took over, again, another thing that I was coached, teached, and mentored to do was to sample my hay quality. It averaged between 7 and 9% protein, dry matter. So I had to supplement that with a lot of lick tanks. Cost me probably $8,000 last year in liquid supplement. This year I'm down to 1 tank because my hay quality is somewhere between 14 and 16%. A lot of that had to do with I got it out of the field and got it stored instead of leaving it in the field. So there's some management things that I've done personally, but just the mowing it at the right time and then processing it from a lot of the things that I've gotten out of these conferences has really helped me do that. The other thing that, and I talked about the rotational plan. The other operational challenges, though, that I face is infrastructure. Obviously, fences are a big issue. My folks are aging. The fences aged right along with them. And so the maintenance of those fences didn't necessarily keep up. So I'm spending a lot of time and a lot of money either patching fences or building new fences. External boundary primarily, and then internal paddocks created either through fences that I'll build through NRCS or even temporary electric fence if the terrain doesn't facilitate using more permanent fencing. The other one is organic matter, better understanding that. And one of the big challenges that I've learned as a result of my soil sampling is I've got high calcium, low calcium, but high magnesium count in my soil. And as I'm trying to figure out how to get that back in balance, the dolomitic lime is kind of what we have available to us to spread, and that doesn't really help me with my magnesium. And so I'm looking for opportunities or answers to how to get that back in line in an economically feasible manner. And then probably the last and biggest challenge that most of y'all are probably familiar with is cows just not doing what I tell them to do. Sometimes they go where you want them to, and sometimes they don't. But I've had that challenge for the last 30 years, so I can figure that one out as well. And that's pretty much it. I'm having a good time. I wake up every morning looking forward to go to work, so it's no issue with that as well. So thanks for your attention.